Hey gang, it's December 29th of 2016 and this will be my December vlog. I did one in November and I think people liked it, got a good response, so here's my December vlog. And let me start off with saying I hope you had a Merry Christmas for those of you or us that celebrate Christmas, and if you didn't, well, I hope you had a happy holidays. And along with that, I hope you have a happy new year. I'm looking forward to 2017. I have a lot of projects to do, a lot of stuff coming in. Obviously more to do with the current project, which is the 68 Mustang. And yeah, let me show you what's going on with it. I don't know exactly where I left off on the last video, but in this one, or at this point, I did install the wire harness that goes from the firewall to the front lights and the horn, and then on over to the alternator and the solenoid. So all that is in place. And what else? Oh, I don't know if I had it on before, but I got the water pump on. The fuel pump, which I had to kind of modify. The outlet and inlet here were a little conflicting with the filter, so I had to modify some things. I bought a new oil pressure switch or sending unit. I did come up with a distributor. I got that from Rock Auto, and that'll suit me for what I'm doing right now. Later on I may put a Petronix kit in it. I haven't decided yet, but currently it's a point system, and that's fine. I ordered several things. Today I went to the parts store and I ordered a new temperature sending unit, which I'll have to get soon. And I got my starter wire on, of course the lead going from the solenoid to the batteries in place. Now a few things I had to get along the way, like I didn't know that I was missing my alternator bracket. And I'm also missing the short length of pipe here that would sandwich the alternator between the cylinder head and the bracket, which I'm going to make one of those. So I did order a bracket kit, so that's good to go. Today I installed new tranny lines. The ones that I had were kind of sketchy. There's actually a union on this one, and the fittings were all rounded off, so I didn't want to use those at all, so I just replaced them. Figured I'd be further ahead doing that. I got the covers over the springs. Oh, I got the brakes bled. No leaks. Really happy with that. I ordered this wiring kit. This is for the gauges, and I'm not sure it's the right one. I actually ordered it for a 68 small block with air conditioning, which is what this car had. And it's got a 4-prong connector there, you can see, but coming off my firewall I've got a 3-prong, and then I have this secondary individual one, and I guess maybe they might join together. I don't know, because I didn't have the original wiring when I took this all apart. So I've got several things going on with this. Obviously I have new hoses coming for the well, I got the new one for the lower off the water pump. I have a new one coming for the top. And even though I have the original radiator, I think I'm going to go with an aluminum one and be done with it. Other than that, again, just piecing things together as I go, and finding what's missing and what's not missing, and cleaning things up. I know it's going to be hard to see, but I did clean up the differential and paint it and put on all new lines. So I'm really happy with that. Oh, as a side note, I still have this air conditioning setup, which consists of the compressor, the brackets, the blower box, and the heater core box, and I'm not going to use any of this stuff. So again, I said it before in another video, if you're interested, let me know. I have no idea what these are really worth, but I'll probably sell everything with all the little plates and covers that would have been part of this setup. Whatever you see right here, I figure $200. So if you're interested, contact me. You can either contact me on the video or at joedaddysgarage@gmail.com. And with that said, I'm going to go on to some other things. You know, there's, with the Christmas season that just passed, and of course the New Year coming up, and you know, you look at what we do at Christmas, what everybody does, you know, gives gifts and different things, and that's fine. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. But today it seems like a lot of the toys and stuff that we get or give are pretty tame, and I mean in a way that you don't have to think whenever you do stuff. You know, it's like when I was growing up, there was a toy that I had. It was called a spin welder, and I'll try to post a picture of that. And it was the coolest thing. It was like this little electric drill that you put this plastic bit on, and you would melt together pieces and parts to make. In this case, I remember making an airplane. I don't think they'd let us have stuff like that today. They would think it's too dangerous. Um, and there's like stuff like the Lego stuff. Well, the old Legos, it was here. Let's build a little house, or let's build a little garage, or that sort of thing. And today's Legos are very complicated, but they also are pretty specific. I'm sure they sell them in the block form, or you can buy multiple pieces of whatever, and you can be creative with them. But most of them are sold like, let's say, a Star Wars character or the Millennium Falcon or something like that. That's what you buy. You buy the pieces to build the Millennium Falcon, and then you sit it on the shelf, or you play with it and it falls apart and you build it back. But it's basically, there's not a lot of, in my mind, creativity. Um, Now, growing up, I'll say I may have been an advantage growing up in my dad's junkyard, because I got to play with things. I got to build things, go karts, bicycles. I remember having a 20-inch bicycle with, I think I put 10 sets of forks on the thing to make this giant chopper, and I realized that's not a good idea. Um, but we did all kinds of crazy stuff. Um, we had a tank retriever from World War II. It was an M4 high-speed tractor that we used to crush cars before Bigfoot ever became popular. My dad would line up cars and crush them, and then we'd haul them off for scrap metal. And I remember riding that tank and crushing cars and stuff like that. Now, I know there's still stuff like that going on today, but most people won't ever experience something like that. Or, my dad, one time he wanted a forklift to move cars around, and he couldn't find one or afford one, so he built one. And he took basically a chassis from a truck, like a 5-ton chassis, and he mounted everything backwards. Like the original drive wheels were in the front, the steering was in the back. It had 2 transmissions on it for super low gear, and he reversed the steering so you could drive it like you'd see a forklift in a warehouse. And he found a set of forks from a tractor assembly, and had concrete on the back, and it was a crazy looking thing, but it worked. And I don't know how many times he actually used it, but he just proved that you could build one yourself. So I'm going to show you this. Now, growing up, my dad did a lot of crazy stuff, I say, or maybe not in his mind, I don't know. But he would buy a lot of things from auction sales. It could be old things, old house, old cars, all kinds of stuff. And occasionally it would come home, and we'd get to either play with the stuff, or it'd get put away or lost forever. That's how things are. But this is one of the coolest toys I ever got as a kid, and I still have it. Now, I played with this from the time I was maybe 8 years old up into my teens, and this is an erector set from 1938. I did some research on it, and if you look up here in the corner, there's the original price, $14.95, and it says the first set with the whistle, and I'm going to show you what that is in just a minute. But I mean, just look at this thing. I mean, obviously, I played with it. I didn't put everything back the way it was. I still have the cardboard here that holds the little pieces and parts. You got these little parts containers, cool old logo, little nuts and bolts and screws and whatever. This one had electric lights that they could unscrew out of the socket, and basically this was your ground end, and this was your power lead on this end, so you could light up your little Ferris wheel or your mill or whatever it is you were making. This was pretty cool. Yeah, I messed this up. This is an electromagnet, and it's designed to run off of, like, I don't know, 6 volts DC, like a couple of D-cell batteries or something. And of course, as a kid, I didn't know what AC/DC was. And so I tried to make it really strong, and I plugged or put the wires in the outlet in the house. And when it started smoking, I realized something was wrong. So this, I'm sure, doesn't work anymore. But let me show you this. This is the original book from this kit, and you know, I think it's just cool that this still exists and it's intact, and all these pictures showing all these different things that you can make, and it gives you detail, you know, of how these pieces are, how many, you know, a 10-inch square girder, you know, whatever, it's in there. But all these things you can make, and you know, this isn't like they were, you know, handing you a blown up, exploded view of something. Here's your picture. Figure it out. You know, it gives you there's a couple letter codes up here, but for the most part, it's like you figure it out. I love that. I mean, look at the, you know, these are not simple. These are fairly complex little machines. There's a windmill. I don't know. I don't know what that is. Oh, it says airplane ride. Check that out. Yeah, I see it now. Okay. Anyway, here's another cool thing. This kit came with an electric motor, and it, you know, when I say the first set with the whistle, let me show you this. This is really interesting. Yes, this is the original setup, and this is probably the last time, you know, that I played with it. I left these gears in place and hooked up. But, you know, again, this is, look at this. It doesn't even have the fat prong on it like modern electrical stuff does. They're two identical. So plug that in and it's on. There is no on-off switch. It's just on. So you see the gears turning. Everything still works. And there's another gear back here spinning. And what that is, that's the whistle. Check this out. Yeah, basically you're pushing a piece of metal onto that gear and grinding it together. But today, I don't think they would even let this, you know, on the market. They'd say, oh, some kid will lose part of a finger or something. So, anyway, let me show you something else I read. I read a quote, and I had to write it down. I'm going to read it to you. And this is, I think this is very true. The biggest crime happening in America, and I'm sure in other parts of the world too, is the fact that they pulled all these shop classes out of schools. Kids today, their dream isn't to build something, it's to buy something. Chip Foose, one of the greatest car builders ever. And, you know, when I went to high school, I remember in our school we had a shop metal class, we had or sheet metal class, whatever, and we had a wood class, but we also had a vocational course where you could get all the schools in our county would send students to go to this vocational school, and it was kind of like a technical school. They had woodwork, masonry, healthcare, welding, automotive, just all kinds of stuff. And you know, it was like learning a trade while you're in high school, and they've done away with a lot of that. And I think that's a shame because, like Chip Foose says, most people want to just buy something. They don't want to spend the time and the effort to build something. You know, I know people, they ask me, how do you consistently work on stuff? Well, I love it. I think it's one of the coolest things you can do is use your hands and be creative and build stuff, you know, and just to prove it, if nothing else, that, hey, I can do it. So anyway, that's enough of my rant on toys and different things. But you get my point. You know, I wish there was a way we could get kids more involved and get them interested in something besides playing games on a computer. That's mostly what I see. So, anyway, this will be the end of my vlog for and my last video of 2016. And you know, lots of things happened this year, and there'll be lots more next year. In fact, I talked to a guy today named Steven from New York about doing a Mustang for him. I talked to a guy who lives not too far from me about putting in a floor pan on his 63 Impala. And it's interesting because he would never would have contacted me normally if he hadn't seen me on YouTube. So, you know, keep watching. If you want to share my videos, fine. That's fine with me. I'm not gonna beg you to do that. But the more people we get involved, the more people interested in cars, the more cars we can save. And you know, that's why I do this stuff. I want to keep people interested and show them they can do it. So anyway, that's enough for today. And let me end saying, I hope to see you next year, and Happy New Year. And as always, thanks for watching.